When I first started going to AFP, sales was a 4-letter word that you did not, ever talk about. But in truth, that's kind of what we do here. It's been my experience since I've been a member of AFP to see sort of two areas that folks come in to the organization on. Number one, someone, and I'll use Katie as an example because I know her. Katie came in as a young person who was new to the industry, didn't know much about it. And I can see in the short period of time that I've known her, how she has developed her career in a tremendous way. So for a young person just starting out in this industry, it is a phenomenal a way to challenge yourself and get a lot of really good information from folks. And then the second category is the category that I fell into. And that was, I fell into quite by accident, the fundraising industry. I didn't even know it existed as a profession. Looking back on it now, when I was in school, I wish someone had told me that this could be a profession that could be so rewarding, because I still think out there in the world that a lot of people don't realize the benefits to being a fundraiser and how rewarding it can be. So I spent about 25 years of my professional career in New York City working in media. I worked for the BBC, I worked for National Geographic Television, and I worked for CBS News, and I worked for a company called Getty Images. And I did sales and marketing. And I did great in my profession. I loved what I did. And I came here to Central Pennsylvania. I relocated from New York to Central Pennsylvania and worked for WITF in their sales division too. I was selling airtime for them. And this back in 2008, then we had what did they call it then? The financial crisis. I can't remember how many crises. The recession, yeah. And so I got downsized because I was a fairly new employee there. But one of my clients actually was the woman who ultimately became my boss here at United Disability Services Foundation. And she said to me, have you ever done fundraising before? Because I think you'd be really, really great. And I said, really? People really do that? People really fundraise and make a living on it? I really had no idea. Even though I'd served on the boards of a couple of nonprofits in New York when I was there. I had never actually done any fundraising specifically. I'd done some grant writing and stuff. But so I interviewed for the job and they hired me. And so I was like, now what do I do? And so I called up a really good friend of mine, Ted Reese, who was working at WITF with me then. And he said, you've got to join AFP. Call right now and join. So I did that very day. I called and joined AFP. And I got hooked up immediately with a mentor. And that was really, really helpful for me. And at the first time I met this person who was mentoring me, he asked about my background and he said, and this is something I love, and this is something perhaps you can remember too. He said that there's only one difference between a sales career and a career in fundraising, and that is with sales, you have a product or a service that your client wants. He said, in fundraising, you are selling a feeling. And I love that because I'm a real touchy-feely kind of person. And so that's like right in my wheelhouse. And so it really, really helped me to understand that a lot of the practical experience that I had in the sales arena could really be applied very easily to fundraising, having prospects and a pipeline and, all that stuff. And it was really great. But the thing that was really helpful for me was getting to know the people. So when I started here at my job, the largest, a $1,000 gift was a major gift here for us. It was wonderful. And I think we had like maybe 5 annual gifts that were above $1,000 when I started here about 11 years ago. And now this year I received my first $1 million gift. And I am not saying that to brag, but I'm just saying I would have never been able to step up into a relationship with a donor that would allow me to even begin to consider an ask of this size. And you know what was interesting about it? I didn't even have to ask. This person came to me and said, I trust you. I love your organization. You have been a great friend. You have educated me about your programs, and you've done a really good job. And I have been really blessed, and I want to bless your organization now. So thank you. So whoever is out there and thinks that there's not a lot to offer at AFP, please partake. You know, I went to every education program. I did every seminar, everything I could the first couple of years I was there, and it was really helpful. The organization I work for now we only have 3 people in our development office, but I do everything. You know, I have a grant writer that works with me. She reports into me, but for a number of years, I was the only one that wrote grants as well too. So now it's kind of like juggling all the balls, especially if you're in a small shop. AFP is the only way to go. I mean, I can't even begin to tell you. So for me, the key to building my relationships with people was to become a master storyteller. That really is the way that you can develop your relationships with people more than anything, is to tell a story about one person that has been impacted by a gift that someone has given. So thank you, AFP. It's been a pleasure. I just actually, I guess, aged off, if you will, the board here. I was on the board for quite a while, but it's been a pleasure. So I will remain connected with AFP for as long as they'll have me. So thank you, everyone.
No, thank you, Larry. Appreciate you sharing your story, and we're glad to have you as part of the chapter as well. So, okay, well, I know that hopefully that gives you all a little bit of a sense of, you know, connection, preliminary connection to the chapter, a little bit of the relational side of things. We want to also give you a little bit of kind of the hard content, you know, like what exactly, like give me the details, give me the practical steps that I can take, you know, as a new member or someone reconnecting into the chapter. So what we're going to do here for the middle part of the session is just kind of give you a kind of a quick briefing. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about the local stuff. Christy's going to talk a little bit about the global stuff, because we do have both local and global opportunities for you as members. And Larry, you're getting a lot of love in the chat there. Hopefully you're seeing that. So yes, thank you. So we'll give you a briefing on kind of both sides, local and global, and then open it up after that for some conversations, questions. Maybe someone's like, hey, I want to mentor just like Larry, or, you know, maybe I want to be a part of an affinity group, or what's the next education session? So any questions or just conversation after that, you know, feel free to jump in. So a couple of quick opportunities, you know, that might be worth you knowing about, and particularly, again, on the local level. We've just recently begun doing affinity groups. One of the things during the pandemic that we were noticing was, you know, we all went virtual, and there was a need, it became more difficult to connect. And the affinity group is an opportunity to basically have people connect in small groups around a particular theme. And so we have like an executive director's affinity group, a grant writer's affinity group, and so on. And we're continuing to look at you know, what is of interest to our members, and allow people to form those affinity groups, because we think it's one of the best things for a connection. One of the advantages of the pandemic, as you know, is that it's forced us to become comfortable with virtual, and we have a pretty big geographic range here. So, you know, I think the affinity groups piece offers some opportunity for you as a member to connect with not only people, you know, once we do go back in person, who actually show up at an event together, but people around the region who might be able to hop on over a lunchtime Zoom call or around a certain theme. So it's another way we've, you know, tried to build our networking. And of course, you'll see, you know, these on websites, and Christy's posting some links as we speak here as well. But affinity groups is one, you know, one opportunity. You'll see we're adding young professionals and young in the profession. That was Larry's category that he came in. And so we're adding both affinity groups in both of those areas here coming up shortly. Of course, most of you probably have a sense of our education sessions. We try to bring you top-notch, you know, presenters that are going to help move you forward in kind of your expertise and your ability to do a great job for your mission and for your organization. Katie, as she mentioned earlier, and a committee that she works with are in charge of bringing those to you. And so, you know, we're grateful for the work that they do. You'll see that those are presented, I guess it's about every other month at this point. We have a couple of other education events that Katie and her group help us stage, but but we're definitely about putting in those education sessions. It's been interesting because now with virtual, we sort of have all of a sudden opened up into this space where we're kind of competing with like everybody globally in the webinar space. And so that's one of the things as a chapter we've had to navigate is, we used to kind of all show up and eat breakfast together and get educated, but now, on a webinar format, there's a lot flying around. So we're figuring that out and navigating that space, but we continue to offer those education sessions. We just started a format called Lunch and Learn, which is meant to be sort of a short form education with discussion linked. And so it's kind of the equivalent of coming to a fundraiser's lunch. You'll get a 20-minute infusion of like hopefully a power pack 20 minutes of education, and then you just get to talk about it, apply it, maybe even contest it, pull it apart a little bit. And so that's our intent, to kind of give you a little bit of a short, easy to attend education format. I just hosted the first one. We were talking about innovation and fundraising, but we'll have more of those coming up as well. So that's another kind of key local opportunity. And then I'll mention as my fourth one, and this is not all the things we offer, but I think it's maybe the best things for you to have on your radar, mentorship. Larry talked about the benefit that he experienced from having a mentor. I certainly have had probably 2 or 3 mentors that have been pretty transformational in my own understanding of the profession. We are continuing to pair folks who need mentorship overall, or maybe even just in a specific area, with other people in the chapter who have expertise. And so if that's something that's beneficial for you, and I definitely encourage you to take advantage of that. Kind of paired a little bit along with that, maybe on the same theme. One of the things we're looking to constantly do is help folks attain new levels of expertise through the CFRE. And so we definitely are encouraging and promoting, that our members check out that credential, that they take the time to engage with that. I know that right now, I was just on a call the other day with Dwayne, who's coordinating that. There's talk of study groups forming or other supportive structures that are coming up. And just as a quick side note, little promo for you, if you have been thinking about your CFRE, my personal opinion is that this year is the best year that since I've entered the profession to get it from an education standpoint. Education is cheaper and more available than it's ever been. So if you need to kind of boost those education credits, I think when I personally did the CFRE, it cost me about $2,500 for the whole credential. You can't sidestep the $700 it costs to sit for the exam, but do the math and you think I spent around $1,800 in education. I just heard from the AFP Icon conference, which I'm registered for virtually, that we will have access to all the sessions, which means that I could knock out all of my education for the $750 fee that I paid to get into Icon Virtual, not to mention all the free webinars and things that are available right now. So if you've been on the fence on the CFRE, I do think that this year is actually one of the least expensive and easiest times to get a CFRE. So just in case anybody's out there on the fence on that one as well, but that's something we're glad to help you with and support you through as well. So I'll wrap it up there with the local stuff and go ahead and turn it over to Christy and let her chat about the global benefits, because of course we're an organization that has a global side to it. So go ahead, Christy, why don't you go ahead and take over.
All right, everyone, I'm going to share my screen here. So this is the AFP Global main page, and right here you'll hit sign in. If you don't have your information, you can hear forgot password or reset. Then it'll get you in there. Now, this is what my page looks like, but you're going to go to for members, and we're going to start with AFP 360. And so AFP 360 is about, you get a lot of different things. You can get your digital resume analysis, a job board, career insights, and then every member receives free of charge 80 minutes of artificial intelligence coaching. So I thought that that was a really good thing if you're looking to update it and you just want to see, and since it's free, if you're just curious of what that would be like, you can go there. And then they do have options to upgrade as well too. So that is something that I don't think a lot of people take advantage of. And I think that's one thing about AFP Global is that we just don't look any further than inside our chapter. And there's a lot of advantages to being a part of AFP Global. All right, so next you can just keep going for members. They have the AAUW online negotiation workshop, and that is also free. And that I looked at it a little bit. I actually really want to do that for future, but it's just another benefit that you can kind of browse and see. Has anybody been on here that has taken it? I'm not sure if anybody has access to that, because we did.
I've done the workshop. It's really helpful.
Okay, that's great.
It really walks you through, and it's really interactive. And yeah, I was really impressed by it.
Great, thank you so much, Katie. I know we had promoted that when they just started offering that, I think in the last year or two since I've been a part of AFP. So you can do browse a job here. Then they have, I did look, they have a few Harrisburg jobs, or if you think about moving, they have jobs for Philadelphia, Baltimore, DC. So you can look at that too. And it's nice, you know, when you're kind of looking around to see what are other jobs that are available. And particularly now, I think what's a benefit is AFP, just like Central PA, is requiring salary range. So when you're looking for a job that maybe is in the same type of market as Harrisburg, you can also look at what that salary range is too. And I think that might help you with negotiations. The next part is this free members only webinars. And that's take a second to get up. And what those are is they have a whole bunch of different ones here. The town hall and mental and health wellness was pretty good. I went that, and I'm sure none of us need those self-care strategies for fundraising professionals. But you can look in here, and then you can search on the left side for different ones. And those are just kind of nice. Most of them are not CFRE because they're not usually long enough, but some of them are. So you can look in there if that's something you're looking for. The micro learning, which I actually didn't know much about until I was just looking at it. Let me take a second to get out. There it goes. I thought it was interesting for people not only to look, but you can also submit your own micro learning videos. So if it's something that you're thinking about considering, you know, becoming a speaker, you can do that at home, and there's a whole thing to submit, and all the different levels of, or the criteria of that. And those are interesting. I think maybe, Tammy, did we use one of these for grants? I thought we had used, or maybe it was just through her. I was thinking something we used one of these for grants, for the Grant Affinity Group. I couldn't remember.
Used one for the Grant Affinity Group. We used one of the micro learning as a discussion topic. It was really good.
Right, that's what I thought. Thank you. And then my favorite, because I'm all about, you know, connecting to people and networking and not reinventing the wheel, is AFP Connect, which is right here. So what I like about this is that you can go on and you can ask any question. So if you're looking for crowdsourcing, if you're looking for a certain software, if you want a file on how to, you know, deal with naming something, you can go on here. Now you can search. You can also post a question. You can reply to a question. And this is really good because and I notice more with the pandemic, it has increased of the people, the interaction on that. And I just really feel that if you're looking for some information and that you don't know if you can get it locally, or you don't know who to ask, that this is a really good opportunity to do this. We actually have our own on the Central PA website too, which people don't use as much. I think they go into here first. And then they've just started, which these topic specific interests on the right. So if you're looking for something specific, they have the special interests in there as well. And then they also have affinity group communities, very similar to what we have. But so if you're looking for something like, you know, that you don't have here, say like if you were like the zoo or aquarium, there's not that many here, but you can find some other places like faith-based and education and things that might be locally. You can find that elsewhere. And so I really, really like AFP Connect. I think it's just a really good resource that I don't think many of our members use. The other thing is sometimes I have a hard time finding it, and I don't know where it went. It's through Blackbaud. I might have to send it to you guys because I just closed it out by accident. Oh, here it is, member benefits. They sneak this in, and this is why it took me a little bit while to find it, which I don't know why. So right here is Blackbaud University, fundraising and nonprofits, and it's actually for people who are even new. It's 8 courses. And so I thought this was interesting if you are newer in the profession or you just have time to go through them. And here's the basics. I mean, it's all very basic, but I thought that would be interesting for someone who's brand new, and it is free. When you log in, you do have to, I'll show you here. It's through Path, and you do have to create an account there. And I created an account because we do other things through them. But this is where, these are our free ones through here, but you also can look at through any of the ones that AFP has, and they charge, and AFP members do get a discount. So those are basic things that that AFP Global has. Does anybody have any questions for me?
While you're thinking about that, everyone, Christy, I think you had mentioned you were going to put together like you have a PDF or something together that, you know, kind of summarizes this. So I know we hit you with a lot there in a couple of minutes, but hopefully that guide will, you know, kind of prompt you to find a good jumping in point.
Yeah, I have a PDF I'm going to send you guys after, and it has all direct links. So you can just click on AFP 360 or whatever, but I just wanted to touch base quickly in all of those.
Yeah. 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 Any thoughts, questions just about that content? So
you must have done a very good job if no one has any questions. Seriously, nobody has a question.
Yeah, you know, they're overwhelmed by the enormity of it all. The one thing I would say to all of you, know, that I've found again and again and heard from our members is that, you know, engaging in AFP and finding a point of engagement is what really begins to give you the rewards of being involved. And so, you know, my hope for you is not that you go out and sign up for all this stuff. Of course, you can do that if you want to, but that you find 1 or 2 points of engagement to get you started. And then go from there. You know, you might be in mentorship for a while, and then you're like, okay, well, I kind of did that. I got the benefit I needed. Now I need to go over and get an affinity group, or now I need to check out, you know, Blackbaud University on the global site because you know, maybe I'm supervising someone who kind of just needs a briefing in the fundraising profession, and so you know, I'd kind of hope for you that you'd pick something that looks relevant to you now. And just get started, because I have found that for myself personally, and I think for most of us who've been involved for a while, getting started with at least one point of engagement is really going to help you get your benefit out of your membership. So that's sort of something I'd throw out there for you to think about. But yeah, you know, this is the point on which, you know, we kind of gave you the content we want to give you, but we're glad to talk, discuss any further testimonials or questions. We are a pretty friendly bunch as a whole, I would say. So anybody on the call who you see here as a board member, you know, I'm sure would be glad to kind of talk with you. You know, maybe you're like, hey, that person over there has experience, they said, in grant writing. You know, this is the sort of time when building connection and networking is welcome as well. So yeah, any other further thoughts, comments, questions?
Yeah, Aauw, I'd like to just share on the Afp Connect portal. I have found a lot of great use out of that kind of community. There's, you know, more so probably on the global one than the local one, not to diss anyone, but there seems to be a greater audience, obviously, on the larger one. And I've put some questions out there in the past, you know, just looking for ideas, or even if I didn't post it, like Christy said, you can search and you can often find information or templates or even a connection. I've been able to reach out to people with, you know, either issues or questions, looking for something, getting some advice or feedback for people all over the country, really, and just to say, hey, it looks like you're doing something that I'm thinking of doing. I'd love to, you know, see if there's an opportunity we could, you know, connect, you know, via phone. Honestly, a lot of the time that I've used it was actually before the pandemic, when it kind of first got launched. But I know that there have been a few times, you know, in the past year I've used it as well. So if you're not using it, I would highly suggest, if you're ever in that mode of like, wow, I really don't want to recreate the wheel. There's probably somebody out there who's done this, you know, check it out first, because I think you'll have success.
Yeah, thanks, Molly.
One thing I do want to highlight is that we do have scholarships available. So a lot of these resources are free through your membership, but if there would be a webinar that you would want to attend that is behind a paywall, or if you just need help paying for your membership or to go to Icon or any of the various things, we do have funds available for that. Christy would know the details on how to get that. I don't remember the details. It's not my situation, not my aspect of the chapter. But if there's something that's kind of intriguing to you and you're like, oh, but my organization just doesn't quite have enough professional development dollars budgeted for that, let us know, because we can probably help out with that.
Yeah, good point. Good point. And interestingly, we often will push those applications, but I find that they're underutilized opportunities. In other words, we get applicants, I would say, but we often don't get as many as I would assume, you know, when we put the opportunity out. So I would encourage you to, if you see one of those opportunities come across your inbox and you're interested, you know, get your hat in the ring. There's a fair chance you'll get, you know, you'll get rewarded with something from applying. Other thoughts, questions?
And also, just while I'm here, I'm just going to do a quick plug for our April education session, which is coming up on April 14th. Janet Trier from the Trier Group, which is a leadership consulting firm in Lancaster, will be presenting for us. She'll be talking about building critical thinking skills, which I think will be really fascinating. I did a much longer course with her this fall and was really, really impressed by her. Her team does a really nice job of helping you kind of be introspective about the self that you bring to work, and then how to make yourself, your unique self, the best professional self you can be. So I'd imagine that this is going to be a lot of helping you kind of think about how you think, and then how that relates to helping an organization move forward in a critical and strategic way. And so Christy has a fancy code for everyone who's on the call that if you sign up, is it $5 off, Christy? So the code is member101. So if you register for the upcoming AFP education session, again, the details are today, I think. If you do it today, with that code, you'll get $5 off the upcoming education session. So we would love to have you.
Yeah, thanks, Katie. Appreciate you sharing that.
And I'd love to put a plug in, you know, one way to get more out of your membership that doesn't cost anything and is very rewarding is committee involvement. The marketing committee, the education committee, and the membership committee, you know, we're a volunteer organization. Christy can't do everything, even though she's superwoman and amazing. She's half an employee. And so this organization runs on volunteers, and any member is welcome to the table. And I have found that committee involvement has been a great way to get to know other members, and you grow professionally through committee involvement, and it's a really enriching experience.
Yeah, we do have a couple openings on our committees, so that's definitely something. If you're interested in, get in touch with Molly or myself, and we'll direct you in point you in the right direction.
And Aauw, you mentioned how, you know, with CFRE, your volunteerism and service is a part of that application as well. So being involved in a committee or at any level can definitely count towards your CFRE requirements.
Other thoughts or comments from the group? It's great to see so many fundraising faces all on one call. You know, I always love, one of the things I love about when we do introductions or I get to talk to other people, it's always good to hear that there are so many people doing other good work than the work that I'm trying to do in the world. So it's an encouraging, you know, especially in a season when the pandemic, or, you know, whether it's pandemic or, you know, political bickering or whatever else may be getting you down, it's good to know that, hey, there's a community of people here who are trying to change the world for the better. And so maybe if there aren't any other comments, I just encourage you by saying, thanks for being here. We value the work that you do, and of course, our goal is to support that work. Anybody on the call that hears this, a board member, I'm sure is glad to hear from you if you have anything that you need. And otherwise, we'll hang out for a little longer if you want to talk in a smaller setting. But I'd send you along on your way. And thank you for taking some time to get briefed on membership. So you'll see that we'll have these calls coming up in the future as well. So if you know other people who are just joining, or certainly would invite you to share the opportunities here at AFP with colleagues, and we're glad to connect with others that you may have in your network.